I'm AJ. I'm 25 years old. Currently live in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm an ex-athlete just trying to rebuild who I am. Just trying to make a life that I fully, completely want. This is going to be the first like real raw type video, and I will do more of this. There's just part of it that's I feel like I'm missing. Part of it I feel like I'm not fully expressing myself the way that I feel like I can. I feel like I could do so much more. And then if you, man, there's so many things on my mind that I really want to figure out what to do. So I have all of these things that I was like writing out. And today was a day where I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit here, just bring out what's on my mind. Just bring out something that I'm sure not a lot of people are even doing. Not in the sense of I got to be better or I got to be better than them, like in a competition type of way, but in a way that I know that I can level myself up. I know that there is some progression in my life that I can do. And something that's been currently on my mind, once again, is just how do I express myself and what things do I express about, if that makes sense. And something that always comes into my mind, of course, is being an athlete or technically be an ex-athlete, and that's the big jumble. Going online, of being on AI and looking up, what are the best ways to do businesses and how do we grow this and how do we do this, that, and the third. And of course, I get some good ideas every now and then. I'm able to execute on them, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like me. It doesn't feel like this is what I really should be doing. Um, and now I'm getting to the point where I want to take things much slower and really be able to thoroughly think through things that I'm doing. And I'm not in a rush. I'm not going to be in a rush about certain things because now I'm I'm at a point now financially where I'm like that's not necessarily a stress and I'm able to focus on some other aspects of my life, and be able to fully think out things that I never really got the chance to think out before. So I'd like to share kind of what's on my mind now. Business. Expression, I feel like, is one of the most important factors. It allows for you to be authentically you. And if you have a hard time figuring out who you are or who you are authentically, that makes things hard. And I feel like that was the big step for me. And it still like kind of makes me nervous. It makes me a little fidgety. Like, AJ, you should know what's going on. You should know exactly who you are. But in reality, of being a certain type of person and being in this certain type of role for 20 plus years, or maybe like 18 years of playing football, that's a big chunk of my life. I'm only 25, so it's like who are you? Who exactly is this kid? And when people are like, he's an athlete, but it's like I'm not anymore. I'm not that type of athlete anymore. That's the only way that I associated as athlete. It was football. Well, what kind of athlete am I now? People are like, oh, I'm a hybrid athlete, bro. You just work out. At least that's how things are in my mind. Like I still train. I still train very hard, but it doesn't feel like I'm an athlete in a sport. You know, and I'm like, how can I share this message? There is something in me that wants to help out a lot of people, and why I couldn't fully tell you yet. It's just this gut feeling of there is so much in you that you can give back. There's so much in you that you can share to other people that are around you. Like you may be only 25, but there's so much in you that would shock and surprise a lot of people. And I feel like it's at this point right now that I'm learning to just give myself grace through it all, that I don't need to have it all figured out. I don't need to be in a rush to have it all figured out because of the fact that I'm only 25. I feel like the biggest factor and the biggest importance of my life right now is to experience this life as much as I possibly can. Experience and learn about my mind and learn about what's constantly running through my head, learning about what I actually care about, what things that I enjoy, who do I want to be, who is the person that I want to become. Because I have all of these images, I have the direction of, you know, what that person would look like. It's just like, well, how do I do that? How do I get there to do that? And I get so mixed up on the how, and I just need to live the life, you know, just need to enjoy my life, enjoy my moments, enjoy the small little bits. And I feel like those small bits reveal so much to you. It reveals your personality. It reveals you in so many ways, and in some, as well as some vulnerable ways. Writing down and understanding some ways that may not be so perfect, some things that you might need to work on, and it's very humbling. You know, and I don't feel like there's a problem of you taking the time to just write out what's on your mind. And people can think you're crazy. People can think whatever things they want, but it's like you are trying to do everything in your power to elevate yourself and learn more about yourself, study yourself. That's I feel like that's a wonderful thing. Like, why wouldn't you want to learn more about yourself? Why wouldn't you want to take the time to sit down and understand who you are rather than always going to AI or some type of software online to tell you who you are, when that software does not know your life, it does not know your experiences, it does not know the pain you've went through, it does not know the joyful experiences you've been through, it doesn't know all of your stories. It doesn't understand who you are. You understand who you are. And if not, you are the only person that's going to be able to understand and figure out what's going on in your mind. Nobody else can do that. Nobody else has your brain. And also, don't mind the picture that's missing. It's right here. It just fell off the wall. It didn't I not even fell off. I didn't have enough of the little other part to this, so I unfortunately couldn't hang it yet. Need to buy more. It's complete side thought. But like, even things like that of understanding like where your mind goes and how scattered your brain can be. That was actually one of the things that I wrote about today, was that moments I've had moments of scatterbrain today, in anxiousness, and I believe it's from eating bad food. Too much sugar, bar for bar. I think that's really why I was like this today, and I feel like that's another big factor that I try to focus on, is understanding like what makes my body tick and how to allow it to function at its best. I hope you guys at least learned, or at least picked up a little bit of something today. And I hope you enjoy and able to follow along with the journey of me understanding and flowing with my mind.